Nothing in the universe is standing still. Not even what seems solid, dead, inert. The table in front of you, the chair you're sitting on, the floor beneath your feet, all of it vibrates. Atoms in perpetual motion, electrons dancing in invisible orbits, waves of energy pulsing at frequencies your eyes cannot detect. Modern science confirms what the Egyptian Hermetists knew millennia ago. Everything is vibration. But they went further, much further. Because if everything vibrates, including your thoughts, your emotions, your very consciousness, then you're not just a passive observer of this cosmic dance. You are a conductor, and the baton is in your hand. Presentation of the authority figure and the problem. The Kybalion, a Hermetic text that synthesizes the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, presents the principle of vibration as the third universal law. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. This is not just a poetic observation about the nature of reality. It is an operating manual for human consciousness. The problem is that most people live in low frequencies: fear, anger, resentment, victimhood, without even realizing they are trapped in these vibrations. They react to the world instead of creating it. They respond to external frequencies instead of emanating their own. This is the third episode of our journey through the Kybalion. We've already explored the principle of mentalism. The universe is mental. Everything begins in the mind. We've already deciphered the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. Your inner patterns reflect your outer reality. Now we're going to master the principle of vibration. Throughout this video, you will understand how your emotions, thoughts, and states of consciousness operate at different frequencies. More importantly, you will learn practical techniques to raise your vibration, tune into higher frequencies, and, yes, manifest the results you desire. But get ready, because this is not dumbed-down law of attraction. This is mental alchemy. This is work. This is transmutation. Law 1. Everything is movement. Nothing is fixed. The first truth you need to absorb is this: there is no fixed state. Not in matter, not in mind. What you call solid reality is in fact energy vibrating at different speeds. A piece of iron vibrates at a different frequency than a ray of light, but both are vibration. In the same way, a thought of anger vibrates at a different frequency than a thought of gratitude, but both are waves of mental energy. The Kybalion is crystal clear. The differences between the various manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit result largely from the varying rates of vibrations. Why is this revolutionary? Because it destroys the illusion of permanence. Schopenhauer would say we live in the world of representation, where we believe things are in some fixed way. But quantum physics confirms Hermeticism. Subatomic particles exist in probabilistic states, in constant movement, until they are observed. You do not live in a solid world. You live in an ocean of frequencies. And the frequency you emit determines the reality you experience. Consider water. At low vibration, it becomes ice, rigid, solid, immobile. Increase the vibration and it becomes liquid, fluid, adaptable. Increase it further and it transforms into vapor, expansive, invisible, able to rise. Same substance,
3 completely different states, only by changing the vibrational frequency. Your consciousness works exactly like this. At low vibration, you are frozen, stuck in patterns, fears, limitations. At high vibration, you become fluid, expansive, capable of transcending. Think of that person you know who is always complaining, always seeing the worst, always expecting disaster. That person vibrates at a low frequency. And what do they attract? More reasons to complain, more evidence that the world is cruel. Now think of the person who, even in the face of difficulties, maintains clarity, focus, purpose. That person vibrates at a high frequency. And even when circumstances are adverse, they find opportunities, solutions, growth. It's not luck. It's vibrational resonance. The arsenal. Practical application. Exercise 1. Vibrational mapping. For the next 3 days, observe your emotional states. Whenever you feel a strong emotion, identify whether it is low frequency, fear, anger, envy, resentment, or high frequency, gratitude, love, enthusiasm, creativity. Do not judge, just observe. The first step to changing your vibration is becoming aware of it.
Law 2. Emotions are frequencies, and you choose yours. Every emotion you feel is a specific frequency. Anger vibrates at one rate, fear at another, love at another, gratitude at another. What Hermetists understand, and what most people ignore, is that you are not a slave to these frequencies. You can transmute them. The Kybalion teaches, the mind, as well as metals and elements, may be transmuted from state to state, degree to degree, condition to condition, pole to pole, vibration to vibration. This means you can take the energy of anger and transform it into determination. You can take fear and convert it into strategic caution. You can take sadness and distill it into contemplative depth. Nietzsche intuitively understood this when he spoke of the will to power, not as external domination, but as mastery over oneself. The ability to take chaotic forces inside you and direct them. Jung called this the integration of the shadow. You don't repress negative emotions. You recognize them, accept them, and transmute them. The Stoics did this constantly. Marcus Aurelius did not deny his frustrations as emperor. He recognized them and then chose a high-frequency response. Patience, wisdom, compassion. Viktor Frankl, a survivor of Auschwitz, faced absolute hell. He could have remained trapped in frequencies of hatred, despair, trauma, and no one would judge him for that. But he did something extraordinary. He transmuted that suffering into purpose. He chose to vibrate at a frequency of meaning. His work, Man's Search for Meaning, is a testimony to this alchemy. He proved that even in the worst circumstances, you can choose your inner frequency. You're in a relationship that ended. The natural frequency is pain, anger, resentment. You can stay there. You can ruminate, blame, victimize yourself. Or you can transmute. Take that energy and turn it into fuel to rebuild yourself. Gym, study, projects, growth. Same energy, different frequency, completely opposite result. The arsenal, practical application. Exercise 2, emotional transmutation. The next time you feel a low-frequency emotion, do not try to suppress it. Feel it fully. Then ask yourself, What energy is here? How can I redirect it? Anger has energy. Use it to train, to work, to create. Fear has warnings. Use them to prepare better. Sadness has depth. Use it to reflect, to write, to understand.
Law 3. Magnetic resonance. You attract what you are. Here is a truth that will either free you or imprison you, depending on what you do with it. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you vibrate. The Kybalion is direct. Like attracts like. If you vibrate at a frequency of scarcity, victimhood, fear, you will magnetize situations and people that resonate with that. If you vibrate in abundance, responsibility, courage, you attract opportunities and people aligned with that frequency. It's not magic, it's physics. It's the principle of resonance. Hermes taught this millennia ago. Carl Jung rediscovered it when he developed the concept of synchronicity, meaningful events that seem like coincidences, but are actually energetic alignments. You don't meet certain people by accident. You don't stumble into certain opportunities randomly. You resonate with them. Schopenhauer would say that cosmic will manifests through correspondences. But the crucial point is, if you want to change what you are attracting, you must change your vibration. Picture two entrepreneurs opening businesses in the same field. The first is desperate. It has to work. He's afraid to fail. He's clinging to the outcome. Low vibration. Frequency of scarcity. He attracts suspicious clients, shady partners, constant problems. The second is confident, prepared but detached. If it works, great. If not, he learns and tries again. High vibration. Frequency of abundance. He attracts enthusiastic clients, trustworthy partners, creative solutions. Same external reality, opposite inner frequencies, completely different outcomes. You want a healthy, loving relationship? Stop vibrating in neediness, in "I need someone to complete me." That attracts people who will either drain your energy or run from your dependence. Start vibrating in integrity, in self-confidence, in "I am complete, but I choose to share my life." That attracts emotionally mature, self-sufficient people, capable of true partnership. The Arsenal, practical application. Exercise 3, the resonance test. Look at the 5 people closest to you. What frequencies do they emanate? Are they high vibration people, responsible, focused, growing? Or low vibration, always complaining, stagnant, victimized? You resonate with what is around you. If you don't like what you're attracting, change your frequency first.
Law 4. Control of attention is control of vibration. Your attention is your most powerful tool for changing your vibrational frequency. Where your attention goes, your energy goes. And where your energy goes, your vibration goes. The Hermetists knew this. Mind is the master, matter is the servant. If you feed your mind with catastrophic news, other people's drama, toxic comparisons on social media, you are literally tuning yourself to frequencies of chaos, envy, fear. If you feed your mind with knowledge, beauty, purpose, you tune in to frequencies of clarity, inspiration, power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The life of a man is what his thoughts make of it." The Stoics understood that you do not control external events, but you do control where you place your attention. And where you place your attention determines your internal experience. Schopenhauer would say that will manifests through directed attention. You want to change your reality? Change what you consume. Change what you look at. Change where your consciousness dwells. A Buddhist monk and a pornography addict watch the same movie with nude scenes. The monk sees the human body as impermanent, as a transient form, and remains at peace. The addict sees an object of desire,
fuel for his habit, and becomes agitated. Same external image, opposite inner frequencies. Why? Because the monk's attention is trained to vibrate in detachment. The addict's attention is conditioned to vibrate in compulsion. You are what you train your attention to resonate with. You wake up in the morning. First thing you do? Grab your phone and scroll. Bad news, people showing off, comparisons. You've just tuned your vibration to low frequencies before you even got out of bed. Alternative, you wake up, do 5 minutes of conscious breathing, read something elevating, set an intention for the day. You tune your frequency to clarity, purpose, power. Same morning, completely different vibrations, completely different days. The Arsenal, practical application. Exercise 4, vibrational diet. For the next 7 days, do a full audit of what you consume: news, social media, conversations, entertainment. Ask yourself honestly, does this raise my vibration or lower it? Cut 50% of the low-frequency content. Replace it with high-frequency content, books, documentaries, deep conversations, silence.
So far, we've established the foundations. You understand that everything vibrates, that you can transmute your emotions, that you attract what you vibrate, that your attention controls your frequency. But this is just the beginning, because now we're entering advanced territory. The Hermetic techniques not only to change your vibration, but to master it completely, to use it as a conscious tool for manifestation. Get ready. What comes next is not theory. It is raw power. Law 5, polarization. Master the extremes of the same frequency. The Hermetists teach that everything is dual. Hot and cold are not absolute opposites. They are extremes of the same temperature scale. Love and hate are not opposites. They are extremes of the same emotional scale. The Kybalion states, everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. This means you can consciously slide along these vibrational scales. You can take the energy of hate, and because it's on the same spectrum as love, transform it. Not eliminate it, transmute it. Heraclitus taught the way up and the way down is one and the same. The Taoists understood that yin contains yang, and vice versa. Nietzsche spoke of the transvaluation of values, taking what is considered bad and extracting the powerful element within it. The point is, you don't need to repress your emotional extremes. You need to learn how to navigate between them consciously. Muhammad Ali was a master at this. Before fights, he would polarize completely to the extreme of aggression, confidence, domination. I am the greatest. He vibrated at that frequency intensely. But outside the ring, he could slide to the opposite extreme: humility, compassion, generosity. He did not repress his aggressiveness. He controlled it. He knew when to turn it on, when to turn it off, when to transmute it. You have an important project. You need boldness to start, to take risks. Polarize yourself into the frequency of maximum courage. Then, when it's time to execute, you need caution, attention to detail. Polarize into the frequency of prudence. Same energy, different poles of the same scale. You don't change who you are. You master your inner frequencies. The Arsenal. Practical application. Exercise 5. Conscious polarization. Choose an emotion you feel. Fear, for example. Now, notice, at the other end of this scale,
is courage. They're not opposites. They are the same vibration in different degrees. Practice sliding consciously. Feel the fear fully, then breathe and slide into courage. You're not creating something new. You are moving along the same frequency.
Law 6. Rhythm and compensation. Use the cycles to your advantage. The Kybalion teaches the principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Translation: you will have days of high vibration and days of low vibration. You will have moments of expansion and moments of contraction. This is not failure. It is natural law. The mistake is fighting the rhythm. The power lies in using the cycles. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote about accepting the seasons of life. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. The Stoics knew that resisting natural cycles is a source of suffering. Schopenhauer understood that the cosmic will operates in waves. You cannot always be at the peak, but you can use the valley strategically for rest, reflection, preparation for the next upward swing. Look at nature. Winter is not a failure. It is preparation. Trees lose their leaves. Sap sinks to the roots. Everything appears dead. But beneath the surface, there is consolidation, storage of energy for spring. If a tree tried to keep its leaves and bloom in winter, it would die. It understands rhythm. You also have your inner winters, periods of low energy, introspection, apparent stagnation. Don't fight them. Use them to prepare for the next expansion. You've had a week of insane productivity. You created, executed, achieved. Now you feel a drop. Less energy, less motivation. Your instinct is to blame yourself, to push harder, to maintain the same rhythm. Mistake. You're fighting the natural cycle. The correct movement: accept the ebb. Rest, reflect. Consolidate what you've achieved. You're not regressing. You're preparing for the next flow. The Arsenal. Practical application. Exercise 6. Cycle Journal. For 1 month, observe your energetic cycles. Note days of high vibration and low vibration. You will notice patterns, weeks of expansion, followed by days of contraction. Stop fighting. Start surfing. On high energy days, execute. On low energy days, plan, study, rest. Law 7. Progressive elevation. Climb the scale consciously. The ultimate goal of Hermeticism is not just to understand vibrations. It is to rise progressively toward higher frequencies. The Kybalion teaches that there are infinite degrees of vibration, from the densest matter to the highest spirit. And you, through mental and emotional discipline, can climb this scale. Not all at once, not with a magic leap, but step by step, degree by degree, frequency by frequency. Plato spoke of the ascent of the soul, from the cave of shadows to the light of truth. This is not just metaphor. It is a precise description of the process of vibrational elevation. You begin trapped in low vibrations, identification with the body, with the ego, with basic desires. Through philosophy, contemplation, practice, you rise. Nietzsche described this as the path from camel to lion, from lion to child. Progressive transformations of consciousness, vibrational transmutations. Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, did not reach enlightenment instantly. He went through progressive stages.
First, he abandoned luxury, rose above the vibration of indulgence. Then he abandoned extreme asceticism, rose above the vibration of self-punishment. Finally, he found the middle way and reached the highest vibration, awakened consciousness. It was progressive, it was intentional, it was work. You want to raise your frequency? Don't try to jump straight into infinite gratitude when you're stuck in resentment. That is repressed emotion disguised as spirituality. Instead, climb step by step, from resentment to acceptance, from acceptance to neutrality, from neutrality to curiosity, from curiosity to interest, from interest to enthusiasm. Each is a frequency, and you can climb the scale step by step. The Arsenal. Practical applications. Exercise 7. Vibrational ladder. Draw a scale from 1 to 10. At 1, write your lowest frequencies: anger, fear, despair. At 10, your highest: peace, love, creativity. Every morning, identify honestly where you are, then choose just one practice that raises you one step. Do not try to jump from 2 to 10. Go from 2 to 3. That's enough. Law 8. Vibrational silence. The power of the void. There is a vibration very few people know, a paradoxical frequency. It is neither high nor low. It is the absence of conditioned vibration. It is silence. Advanced Hermetists understood that, to fully master vibrations, you must be able to enter the void, the space between thoughts, the gap between emotions. There, in that vibrational silence, you are no longer reactive. You become source. You are no longer responding to external frequencies. You are emanating your own. The Taoists call this Wu Wei, action through non-action. It is not passivity. It is pure power without resistance. Eckhart Tolle describes it as presence, the state of consciousness that is not identified with thoughts or emotions. Schopenhauer would say it's the transcendence of will. You stop being dragged by vibrational currents. You become the observer, and from the observer comes the power to consciously choose any vibration. It is said that the Dalai Lama, during Tibet's exile, faced the loss of his country, his people, his land. He had every reason to vibrate in anger, despair, hatred. But he cultivated vibrational silence daily through meditation. And from that silence, he emanated compassion. Not compassion repressing anger, compassion as conscious choice arising from the void. That is Hermetic power in action. You're in the middle of a heated argument. The other person is yelling, attacking you. Your instinctive vibration is to retaliate, to enter the same frequency of conflict. But if for a second you can enter vibrational silence, breathe, observe, detach from the automatic reaction, you gain power. You can choose to respond from a completely different frequency, or you can simply not respond. You become source, not echo. The Arsenal. Practical application. Exercise 8. Void practice. 5 minutes a day. Sit in silence. Do not try to think positive. Do not force gratitude. Just observe. Thoughts will arise. Watch them like clouds passing. Emotions will arise. Watch them like waves in the ocean. You are not the thoughts. You are not the emotions. You are the space in which they happen. This is vibrational silence, and from it, you can emanate any frequency you choose.
You now hold the complete map of the principle of vibration. You understand that everything moves, nothing is fixed, and you are not stuck at any frequency. You learned that your emotions are vibrations you can transmute, that you attract not what you want, but what you are vibrationally, that your attention is the supreme tool to change your frequency. In the advanced techniques, you mastered polarization, navigating between extremes of the same scale. You understood rhythm, using cycles instead of fighting them. You discovered progressive elevation, climbing the scale of consciousness step by step. And finally, you touched vibrational silence, the void from which true power emanates. But understanding is not enough. The Kybalion is not meant to be read. It is meant to be practiced. Every law we explored today demands application. It demands that you stop being passive, stop reacting, stop being a victim of external frequencies. You hold the baton. You are the conductor. But no symphony is written just by listening. You have to pick up the instrument. You have to train. You have to play. The next 7 days are your laboratory. Choose 3 of the 8 laws that resonated most with you. Practice them daily. Map your vibration. Transmute your emotions. Control your attention. Observe the results. And remember, the universe does not respond to what you wish for. It responds to your vibration. Change your vibration, and you change your reality. Not because the universe will give you what you want, but because you will become the person who naturally attracts, creates, and manifests what you desire. As the Kybalion teaches, he who understands the principle of vibration has grasped the scepter of power. The scepter is in your hands. Use it.